disturbance and a welfare check at a residence close to where we're standing right now. Two deputies responded. As they were crossing the yard, a male identified as Todd Lamont Harper fired a shotgun through the window and struck one of the deputies in the head with a shot. The deputy immediately went down. The other deputy that was with him returned fire and engaged in a gunfight with the suspect, who was still inside the house. This prevented the deputy who was being fired at from immediately going and grabbing the deputy who had been shot. Other officers from the Spalding County Sheriff's Office and Griffin Police Department arrived. They were able to get into a position where they could retrieve the deputy who had been shot. He was immediately loaded into an ambulance with a critical injury to the head, and about an hour ago he succumbed to those injuries. The cause of death was a single gunshot wound to the head. Immediately after the shots were fired and the suspect barricaded himself up in the house, other units and a multi-jurisdictional response came from Pike County Sheriff's Office, Clayton County Sheriff's Office, Griffin Police Department, and I'm sure there are other agencies that were just, just kind of overwhelming to try to keep track of that. Responded. We used some of our equipment and used some of the equipment provided us by Clayton County, and we breached the house. We ripped the whole back side of the house off using our armored vehicle and Clayton County's armored vehicle. The suspect still would not surrender. We saw him in the house multiple times and he kept getting away, running deeper and deeper. That's why we ended up basically tearing half the house off. He was finally found lying underneath a mattress in a bedroom. Was given multiple opportunities to come out. SWAT team members from Griffin PD, Spalding Sheriff, and Clayton County Sheriff went in, got him out from under the bed, and were able to take him into custody. He was very combative at the time he was arrested. He had to be carried to the car, continually to tell us that he knew where all of us lived and he was going to kill us all. We went ahead and transported him away, and he is currently in custody in my jail, where he will stay. I'm not going to send him to another sheriff's jail. He killed my deputy. He's going to sit in my jail.
Do you have an update on the other deputy's condition?
The other deputy possibly has suffered a broken hand. During all of that, he is being treated at the hospital. Last I heard from him, he was about to go into x-ray to have his hand x-rayed, but he was not shot. So he seems to be doing well. Of course, he is, as you can imagine, that happening right in front of him. The deputy that was shot was his shift supervisor. They had known each other for a long time. Both of them are military veterans. The shift supervisor that was shot served in the Army, I believe, in Iraq. So he was a combat veteran, and he comes home and is to serve his community, makes the community safer, and he ends up losing his life. That's just, it's stunning to have that happen. And we haven't released the name of the deputy that was shot yet, because we want to make sure that his next of kin is notified. He is not originally from here, so we want to make sure that everybody has the opportunity to make contact with him.
Are you going to share the suspects?
Yes, ma'am. I have his name is Todd Lamont Harper.
Can you spell that for us?
T-O-D-D-L-A-M-O-N-T. Last name Harper, H-A-R-P-E-R. And here is the booking photo that was taken of him just a few minutes ago.
How old is Harper?
I want to say he's 57 years old.
Are Can you tell us a little bit about the deputy who lost his life, his age, and a little bit about it? I mean, I could just see it on your face. Can you talk a little bit more about him?
I don't want to get into a lot of detail until, but I can tell you, like I said, he's a military veteran, and we just want to make sure that his family is notified since they are out of state. I don't want to drill down too much to make it, where he's too identifiable right now.
I spoke with a friend.
Go ahead.
I spoke with a friend of Mr. Harper. He said that deputies had been called to his house multiple times,
Yes,
that
ma'am.
he's had a number of issues concerning his mental health, that he also was a Vietnam veteran, that he's been off his medication. Can you confirm that you guys have been to this house before, and anything about his mental state when you did arrive there?
We have been to this house at least a couple of different times. I'm sure more than that. I know that there was an incident that occurred here in January, I believe it was of 21, where he had barricaded himself up in a house. No shots were fired, and our negotiators were able to negotiate him out of the residence. He had a sister that came here who was also former military, and she kind of took charge of his well-being, got him into some assistance, some rehabilitation, and some other psychiatric or mental help. And we thought at that point, everything would be fine. And then here we are, this happened today. And the thing that I will say to people, like the thing with the knowing that somebody was off their meds, is the same response I've had to this before. If you're a family member and you have a loved one who has a deadly force encounter with a law enforcement officer, if you knew enough to go to the media and say that they were off their meds, that you knew enough to get them some help before it got to that point. So, and that's pretty much the way I view that. If you're going to get on TV and say it, then you should have gotten some help before it got to the point where TV stations had to show up because something had happened. I'm sorry, yes, ma'am.
No, it's okay. I was just wondering, and she a little bit more about the call, because at first it came in as domestic. So was he in a fight with somebody?
No,
was at his house by...
It was at his house, and I want to say it was his wife that went to a neighbor's house and said she needed help, that he had threatened her, and she just needed help and wanted to call 911 and get some assistance. And so they did. And I think the call came out, I haven't gone back and listened to the tape yet, but when the call came out, I think it came out as like a disturbance call, a domestic or disturbance call or something of that nature. But I'll go back and I can get that information, and when I'll put something out to further shore up everything that we've talked about. Make sure.
So the wife called 911?
Yes, ma'am. I believe it was the wife who called 911.
And you can't confirm that, his friend said that was his girlfriend. Do you know if it's his girlfriend or wife?
No, I was told that it was his wife. It may be a girlfriend, but I was told that it was his wife.
Can you confirm that he lived alone, though? Or do you know if
That I don't know.
Okay. And can you talk about what happens next after this?
Well, the deputy's body will be transported to the crime lab this afternoon. We'll have Georgia State Patrol will be leading that escort along with Clayton County. We will have some of our deputies in the escort as well, escorting my deputy's body to the crime lab for autopsy. The suspect will be housed in our jail until his court date, and that's pretty much where we go from here. I have an entire shift of deputies who work with this supervisor who are absolutely devastated. This supervisor was one of those guys that every time you saw him, he was smiling. He would call your name across the parking lot just to say hey to you. He lit up a room when he walked in. He had a command presence about him, and the people that worked with him on his shift, they loved him. He was He had their backs. If they were wrong, he would tell them that they were wrong. But if they were right, he was going to tell them they were right, and he was going to support them. And he was a deputy that definitely led by example.
And how long had he been with your office?
I want to say he'd been there about 12 years. I went into office in 2017. He was already there when I went into office. So I want to say it's been about 12 years.
Did the suspect suffer any injuries?
Scuffed up, things like that. But when you're in a house that's being destroyed around you, that happens when you fight. If you don't want to be if you don't want to be fought, don't fight us. You'd already killed one of my guys, and my guy's not going to stand there and get beat up. But as you can see from the picture, the current booking photo, that he's not beat up or scuffed up. He's alive. He wasn't shot. He's in custody. We want him to face a jury of his peers and let the legal system have its course.
And that other deputy, I know it sounds like he's physically expected to be okay, but mentally, how's he doing? Have you gotten a chance to talk with him?
I haven't yet. I have one of the SWAT team guys that I know that has been through a lot that's with him right now, and he said that he right now has the mentality like you think that somebody that had just saw something like that would have, but he's holding his own, and he's holding it together right now. That's where he's at. I think a lot of people forget what a lot of these deputies, especially these younger deputies, what they see and what they go through. And to see your supervisor get shot, steps away from you, and seeing him laying on the ground and knowing you can't get to him to stop him because to get him because you're taking gunfire is a horrible thing for any person or any law enforcement officer to have to see.
And again, one more question. Mr. Harper, age is 57?
Yes, ma'am. I was told he's 57 years old.
Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am. Thank y'all.
Thank you.